Thai. So everyone, please welcome the next presenter is Aman Dayal. The topic is Edutainment Secret Review Top Strategies for Educational Channels on YouTube. Please welcome.
Thanks, Pui, for that very enlightening session. I'll just stand here and present. Hi, everybody. Okay, I don't speak any Thai, so I won't be able to do the Thai jokes the way Pui was able to do. But my name is Aman, and I'm part of the education content team at YouTube. Our job essentially involves working with content creators who create wonderful learning and education content for users on YouTube. And what we'll do today is I'll kind of take you through, starting with a deep dive on why YouTube, what is it that YouTube actually brings to the table, and how learning content can get integrated on YouTube. And then essentially a little more color on what are the best strategies that we propose in terms of creating education content on YouTube. And this is through examples of some of the best learning and education content creators on the platform. So this session would be conducted by myself and my colleague Benjamin, who's standing at the back there, and Pui, of course, you all just heard of. Okay, so why YouTube? So YouTube has over a billion users today, which, if you think about it, is more than 1/3 of all internet users are already viewers on YouTube today. And these 1 billion people, they watch hundreds of millions of hours of content, and they generate billions of views for YouTube. So the reason why I'm sharing this is just to kind of give you an understanding of the scale at which YouTube as a platform operates. As of today, every single minute, we have 400 hours of content which is uploaded onto YouTube. And this is across all types of content. But if you think about it, in this two-hour session today, there's going to be months of content which would get uploaded just in this little time frame. So, so our job essentially involves working with content creators to help them make their content discoverable within this vast amount of content that gets created on the platform every single minute. Another interesting stat about YouTube is that YouTube today gets 50% of its viewership on the mobile platform. So it's no longer the earlier days of YouTube being, or any other website being accessed only on the mobile. Users have vastly shifted to mobile platforms, especially when we are talking about learning and education, which is essentially students who are looking at the content. We see younger age groups are mobile first in the way they consume their content and the way they search for their content. So this is a big trend that we've seen, and the platform is actually designed to have a very seamless experience across devices. So whether you are viewing on a desktop or a mobile or a tablet, or via casting it to your living room big screen, you will have a seamless experience, and that's the kind of the infrastructure that we've developed on YouTube. So as I said, we're a platform of many strengths. The sheer scale at which YouTube operates allows it to have a reach which is unparalleled, making it clearly the largest audio-visual digital distribution platform on the planet. Over 1 billion users, and more than 80% of YouTube users are actually outside of the United States. So although it's an American company, but this is not a company which is American in terms of the content and the users that we have. It's truly a global platform. Very broad corpus of content. Like I said, 400 hours uploaded every minute. We also allow our content creators to monetize their content that they create. So year over year, we are seeing a 50% increase in monetization that our creators are able to do on the platform. And then last but not least, fan engagement. This is a platform which is essentially about creating authentic connections between the creators and their audiences, and also amongst creators themselves. So YouTube is a very social platform. It's a very collaborative platform, and which is one of the reasons why it's so popular with users. So just for a minute, talking about YouTube, learning content on YouTube. We are actually, the way we look at it is YouTube has the potential, or rather is the world's largest classroom. We see students coming onto, or we see kids coming onto YouTube from a very young age. In fact, if you think about it today, even if you look at preschoolers, most of them are learning their nursery rhymes, their ABCs, their numbers. All of it is happening on YouTube. And if you look at the higher age groups, K-12 kind of school age groups, or even the higher education, today we've got more than 1,000 education channels on YouTube, and we've got more than 1 million individual videos across these 1,000 education channels. So that's kind of the broad corpus of education content that exists on the platform. Some of the channels have actually got over 100 million views each. So one great example of that is Khan Academy. For those of you who might have seen it, Khan Academy is one of the earliest education content creators who came onto YouTube in a big way. And today they've got more than 260 million views across the various channels that they operate. YouTube today has over 100 colleges and universities who have partnered with YouTube across the world. This includes some of the biggest names like MIT, Stanford, Princeton, Harvard, Columbia. All of these universities have partnered with us and are leveraging YouTube in a big way. And not just in the US, but this is global. Even some of the biggest universities from across Asia have partnered with us. In fact, a study of a couple of years back showed that 50% of online adults actually watch educational videos on YouTube. And recent data has actually also shown us that videos in YouTube's education category are actually viewed twice as much as videos in the pets and animals category. So gone are the days when YouTube was just a platform to view funny cat videos. Today it's actually a really serious and potential learning and education platform. I'd like to start by showing you a quick video actually. This is a video which we had just recently created for VidCon. VidCon is the largest digital video conference that happens in the world. It happens in LA. So let me just...
The whole point...
Sorry.
The whole point of education is to get people to learn. If there's no learning going on, there's no education going on.
Hello, AP Calculus students.
How much does a shadow weigh?
I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, your host.
All cooking is chemistry, so the better you understand chemistry, the better you understand cooking.
Is there any credibility to centipedes having 100 legs and millipedes having 1,000 legs?
No, they're just leggier.
Ancient Egypt is probably the most influential of the River Valley civilization.
I've heard a lot about you.
The chord of A7 should sound like this.
Why should the younger generation be interested in politics?
You want to express your voice and what you care about.
Printable magnets. It's amazing.
There's a part of us that really wants or even needs to have an answer to these things.
It's high time that all Indians produce their own electricity.
Who's ready to get started?
This is the world's most important freezer.
What if I told you I built a machine that creates energy?
So there are connections between hip-hop and science.
Billions.
Curiosity is the engine of achievement. If you can light the spark, people will rise to it.
So what we'd like to do is, before we get into the top strategies for education content on YouTube, we'd like to share with you some interesting examples of really great education content which is already coming out of Thailand on YouTube. So I'll hand over the mic to my colleague Benjamin, and she will take you through 3 of these case studies.
Thank you, Aman, and say hi to everybody again. So let's start with introducing myself first. So you can call me Ben, and my full name is Benjawan Swang. And I'm handle kids and learning on YouTube in Thailand. So after this session, if you have any question, please feel free to come to me and ask any question. So let's start for the very exciting example. I like to say here again that, everybody might familiar with our platform YouTube already. But you might, when you're talking about YouTube, you might think about, entertainment content and music video. But as I come here, I want to show you some real example of education content on YouTube. And there's going to be 3 different good experience. And starting with this channel, some of you might familiar with the channel called ArmSchool. I like to highlight this channel because it's how could I say, it's very social good channel. What make the channel start is like he want to make education accessible for all Thai students. So that's such a good, tagline for education content on YouTube. And he start to create his channel since 2005. And until now, he have over 10,000 education video uploaded already. So that's amazing. And actually his aim, actually at the end of the session, you're gonna have a chance to meet the real creator of the ArmSchool, and he will tell us more amazing story behind his channel. But I like to just highlight here that he has an aim that to target to upload over 1 million education content to the platform, because he want to focus on social goods. He want to make the education accessible for the Thai student. And until now, he have about 100,000 subscribers already. So I think this is a good example and also the inspiration that education content on YouTube is not something that, in the future, but it's been here for a long time. But it's just a matter that probably we don't know about that. So we've been here just to introduce that it exists nowadays, and we want to have more channel like ArmSchool did already. And the second one I want to show you, for those who don't know about ArmSchool, ArmSchool is very academic video content on YouTube platform. So the content inside is like he shooting in the classroom and upload all the content for those students who probably don't have enough money to pay for the, the tutor or to afford those high costs of, extra learning outside the school. So I will show you a bit about the content to show you that, the content doesn't have to be very fancy or, very hard to produce. It can be very simple. Like this.
15 วิเป็นของเรา45 วิเป็นของเขา เพราะฉะนั้นเราต้องจัดเต็มเอาอะไรก็ได้เนาะที่มันง่ายๆเหมือนกับ just make sure that your reasons are broad and it's really easy to make up, and you can think about it within 15 seconds and talk about it for at least 15 seconds นะครับ do not freak out or
so let's move to the next one. I like to highlight here because you already see that from that simple content which every teacher already do on the classroom, he just shooting that, upload to the platform, and this is the result. Miss Sangtip, she is a student who watch ArmSchool on YouTube, and she just reached the highest score in the country for the university admission for this year. So that's amazing, because she mentioned ArmSchool as a part of her success, providing a free online class for her, and she's reach #1 in the country, and she's going to be a future teacher. So this is the example that is real for now, that we have the education content on YouTube, and we have a real example of successful student who already study from ArmSchool, and she reached #1 in the country. And this is not the first case for ArmSchool. There have so many successful students who study from ArmSchool, and now they turn to be a teacher at ArmSchool to build another student to be like this successful case. So that's why I highlight ArmSchool as a first channel, because it's so touching, it's for social good. It represents you a good storyline of, being a creator, create a educational content, and the output is so beautiful, the student is already success in what she wants to do. And the second channel you might familiar with, Kru Nok Lek, because she's been in many media coverage. Kru Nok Lek is another story that she's not pure educational content, but it's a mix between education and entertainment. So I can call her edutainment content. But her story is a good example for us because she's just a simple Thai teacher. She teach Thai language to the student, and one day she just think that those students, they just get bored with the learning. So she said, why she bring some creativity and make learning fun. That's why she start to create a content and upload to our platform, create a YouTube channel called Kru Nok Lek. And I will show here some sample of her content. I would say that because her personality is like a fun-loving person, so her question is how to make the learning fun. So she integrate music and dancing into her lessons. So the example here is like she teach the student about the animal, so she create like a music, but this quite make nicely because it's not in the beginning of her content. So I just want to show you that this is another format of content that we call edutainment, which is fun learning. It's quite a long one, so I will skip to show just some part of the content.
สวัสดีค่ะนักเรียนวันนี้เราจะมาเรียนรู้เรื่องสัตว์กันนะคะ
You can
สัตว์
see
บนโลก
that
นี้มีอยู่มากมาย
the story
ทั้งสัตว์
line
บก
is the same to telling about the animal, but how she
เรา
represents
จะออก
it
กำลั
is
งกาย
quite
ท่า
fun.
สัตว์กันเอ้าลุกขึ้นมาเต้นตามครูยกขาขึ้นมาเลย1
And actually, this type of content is gonna last forever. So it's like you teach one thing and you can upload to the platform and you can watch it anytime you want.
ท่าแรกนะท่าเป็ดยกมือ
If you want to see the whole thing, you can check at her channel Kru Nok Lek. Just Google for Kru Nok Lek. And as some of you that already a parent or have kids at home, you may know that if we're talking about YouTube for kids, most kids gonna love those toy review, So Kru Nok Lek, she try to blend her content with the activity those kids love. So she do more like a toy review, but she also input some knowledge and learning. It's like learning English through playing doll. So this is a sample of content format.
สวัสดีค่ะครูนกเล็กค่ะ
So it's more like a toy review, but she tried to integrate learning English. The little girl is her daughter named Nong Thuk Chai. So she started when she doesn't have a kid, and now it's like a family activity. Her husband do all the shooting and production, and now her daughter Nong Thuk Chai turned to be a main character for the channel. So she has a fan club already. And one amazing thing that I want to mention here, even the channel start because she want to make the education fun for the student, but nowadays it's turned like YouTube's gonna be main revenue generator for her family. So that's amazing because her before that her husband worked full time in one company, but he just resigned and quit and to be a full time production or full time YouTuber because nowadays they have about I would say close to 300,000 subscribers already, and they can monetize and generate money through online advertising. So this is what I say, that is from the starting point that you have a passion to build something good for the social, and the result is much more beautiful. The output is you do something good for the student, and at the same time you also earn money for living. So this is like a dreaming job for everyone. So, and this is a real thing happening now. It's not the future or something that everyone cannot do. So because she's just a simple Thai teacher. And this to show you that she's been in media coverage a lot, because now she also be like a trainer, because she's been invited as a guest speaker to teach and train many teachers how to use social media, and especially for YouTube, to make a content, education content for the student. And this is the next example. I think everybody here might know Ajahn Adam already. He is quite popular, and he is American, and he used YouTube as a platform to promote his content, and at the same time he used YouTube as a digital media channel to promote his online, no, it's not his class, his physical class, because he also have a class that you can pay monthly cost and you can attend the class, but he also have a free class on YouTube. So that is like a introduction to his class, and at the same time he can generate revenue through online advertising, providing at our platform. So for Ajahn Adam, I highlight him here because it's a good example that how he make English easy to understand for Thai. And actually it doesn't have to be only English. If you have some expert in any language, you probably can create content on our platform as well. And like I said already, that Ajahn Adam, he has so many classes. He has a online class. He have a live classroom, which means that you have to pay and come to his office to take a class. And you also have the video and blogging. So that content is come from our YouTube platform. And here is some example of his class, his content on our platform.
What's happening?
คุณรู้จักใครที่เป็นบ้าไหมหมายถึงว่านอกจากอาดัมอ่ะ You know any crazy people? I mean, besides me, of course. วันนี้ขอเสนอคำที่มีความหมายเดียวกันกับคำว่า
You can see the difference from each
Today I want to share
channel.
some
So
words
this
that are
one
synonymous
is quite a good
crazy.
production, because he
Number
has
one.
so many revenue resources, and this content
I can't believe he
is
did
created
that.
not
He's
only
nuts.
for free
ไม่อยากเชื่อเลย
promotion.
ว่า
He
เขาทำแบบ
also
นั้น
generate
บ้าบอ
revenue from
จริงๆ
online advertising, and he
Number
also
two.
drive some students through
Ten.
his
Some of the stuff he
live
says is
classroom
so
as
out
well. That's
there.
why he can
He's a
build
nut.
quite a high quality
เรื่องที่เขา
content.
พูดเนี่ยมันเพ้อเจ้อจริงๆอ่ะสงสัยเขาจะหลุด
So this just, I think, show you 3 different types of education content on YouTube, which I would say that the most practical and close to your experience. If you are a teacher, I think I would say that ArmSchool is quite the practical one. And if you can build up to be like a ครูนกเล็ก so it's like you can growing to be like a cool Nokleg, and at the end, who knows if you can be popular and famous like Ajahn Adam. So you can make a very good quality of content like you seen on TV, but it's on the platform YouTube. So I will pass to Aman again to go through some strategy about the educational channels.
Thanks, Ben. So as you saw, there's already lots of interesting stuff happening in the education space on YouTube and happening right here in Thailand. We've got amazing, as we like to call them, edutubers on the platform now. And our hope is that this session might inspire some of you to also look at creating education content for the millions of students who can access it on the platform in Thailand and even beyond. Actually think of YouTube as a global platform. Okay, so what we'll do now is talk about some of the top strategies for education channels, and these are strategies that we have put together after looking at some of the most successful education channels on YouTube today. And the way we'll go through these strategies is to talk about each of them and then talk about what are the various things that you can do to implement that strategy. So essentially there are 11 different strategies that we'll talk through, and I'll go through each of them one at a time now. So the first is what we call as aligning with real student needs. So we've seen that audiences have an appetite for great content all year around, but their demands for educational content, oftentimes peaks around certain exam times or certain predictable topics or subjects. So for example, if you're in an engineering environment and there's an exam coming up, then typically content around those topics would end up seeing a peak from the students. So essentially what you can do as a content creator is you can monitor YouTube trends and even Google trends to kind of help keep you informed about which topics to create when. So leverage the seasonality. And an example of somebody who does that is this very successful EDU channel on YouTube called Crash Course. So they successfully meet the needs of the students by structuring their programming around advanced placement exam topics. So they know that when those exams are coming up, there's going to be a huge demand from students, and that's how they program their content to get uploaded on the platform. Some of the ways in which you can do this is like the first one I said is you can examine trending topics across Google Trends and YouTube Trends. You can explain trending topics sometimes. So for example, the example that comes to my mind is last year I was in India and the Indian government had just put up a rocket into space, and it was a really big news at that time. So there was a lot of media coverage around that, and at that time there was one of our edutubers in India. He actually created a video explaining how that rocket was put into space, and through animation he explained the whole concept of how and he simplified it for a student of astrology or engineering on how what was the science behind that, and that video became very popular. So that's an amazing example of leveraging an existing trend that's happening. Plug in the knowledge gaps, so you can actually study existing content on YouTube and kind of identify areas where there are gaps or where there's not enough happening, and maybe look at plugging into those gaps. You can align with a viewer's learning path. So what that means is basically consider how people are likely to move from one lesson to the other. Typically learning would happen in a certain structured manner where people would start from a lower stage and then move up. So you could align your teaching on the platform in a similar manner. Sorry, are we taking a break right now? Yeah. Okay, so we'll.
Just a few minutes.
Okay. I was getting. Okay, the second one is do your homework and be credible. Essentially, in the digital age, misinformation can spread very quickly. So what as an education content creator, you really need to ensure that your authority is not weakened. And what we have seen top education creators do is essentially build and retain their credibility on the platform. And they do this through researching topics very thoroughly and through referencing their sources. So there's this channel called Vsauce. Vsauce is one of the most popular education channels on YouTube today. What they do is, the creator of that channel, he spends 50% of his entire time researching and collecting facts, and then the rest of his time only goes into production and creating of the videos. So which is why Vsauce has built a very strong credibility to his brand. And whenever he's showing some specific facts, he also always shows up the sources through which those facts have been collected. So like I said, showing your sources is very important. Citing third-party sources in your research, calling out redaction. So if there's been a mistake, as a creator, you should have no qualms about calling it out in your next video and rectifying the mistake that happened. That helps to strengthen your credibility and to stop any misinformation from spreading. And highlight your credentials. So if you have advanced degrees, if you have advanced certificates, always highlight it, in your channel about section or maybe in your video descriptions. You want to?
We will have a refreshment break for 15 minutes. Yes, and we will come back to continue this presentation.